Hey guys, this is Jacob back again on Win the Day, filling in for Pastor Nat. Today we're going to look at whose wisdom will we choose? Does the Bible teach karma? Now this is a question that I threw at my own junior high students not too long ago. I said that if they could find a biblical passage that teaches karma, I'd give them some candy. So naturally, they all jumped on their Googles and searched for verses in the Bible that teach about karma. Now the idea of karma is that you will receive in life what you give out to others. If you do good things will happen to you. And if you do bad things will happen to you. Now, several students came to me believing that they'd found a biblical passage that teaches karma. In today's passage, we'll focus on one of the verses that came up several times. So let's take a closer look. In James chapter 3, verses 16 through 18, James says, "For where jealousy and selfish ambition exist, there will be disorder and every vile practice. But the wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." For some background, the book of James is all about living out your faith. It's a book that's all about practical application. This is what it's supposed to look like to follow Jesus in word and deed. Just before this passage, James has been explaining how powerful and dangerous the human tongue can be, because words are powerful. And sadly, we usually use our words to hurt people and spread evil. Also, James broke down the importance of wisdom. There are two types of wisdom: God's wisdom and the world's wisdom. James chapter 3 verses 16 through 18 expand on this idea of wisdom. Verse 16 refers to the wisdom of the world, identifying that it leads to jealousy and selfish ambition. And where does that lead? Disorder, vile practices. Now another way to say that is that worldly wisdom spreads pride and anger. James then compares the product of worldly wisdom to what God's wisdom produces. Verse 17 lists out characteristics of people that are shaped by God's wisdom. Now, as you read these, think about the heart of Jesus: pure, then peaceable, gentle, open to reason, full of mercy and good fruits, impartial and sincere. That is who Jesus is. Those who follow Him and walk in His wisdom become like Him in every way. Now think about our culture for a minute. Would we describe ourselves this way? Are we a people of peace, gentle and open to reason, always filled with mercy, impartial and sincere? I think we know the answer. Our culture is shaped by the wisdom of this world. A culture that is angry, divisive, aggressive, prideful. We live in a world that wants to assert our own opinions before we even listen to the thoughts of others. Now this is convicting to me. I realize that way too often I lean on my own wisdom and the wisdom of the world. Lastly, we read in verse 18, "And a harvest of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." This is the passage that many students tried to use against me to defend karma. But is that what it teaches? To sow is to plant seeds. This passage tells us that if we live a life that's consistent with God's wisdom, and we continue to plant seeds throughout our life, then we will have a peace that comes from His Word. And we will have a harvest of righteousness. Now, that means to begin to live a life consistent with God's design for us. We'll live a life that's honoring to Him and that produces godly character and justice all around us and in every interaction and every relationship that we enjoy. So no, I don't think this is about karma. This is saying that those who trust in the gospel will have their hearts and their minds shaped by the wisdom of God, not the wisdom of man, and it will result in a righteous life. Now, will we take this wisdom from God and walk in it? We must be discerning and seek out what is the wisdom of God. He's given us His Word. He's shown us His wisdom. And no wisdom of this world can truly produce righteousness. Only the truth of God can do that.